Welcome to DBL. Oh my gosh, it is official. We've been wanting this. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have both accepted an invitation to debate. Now, Biden taunted Trump with a video that was released earlier today. Take a look.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
That's his court dates when he's free.
Wednesdays is his court date. Okay. So Trump accepted the challenge, saying on Truth Social, quote, "It is my great honor to accept the debate against Crooked Joe on June 27th and on September 10th. DBL Nation, we always want to hear from you. Do you want to see a Trump-Biden debate? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. I believe they owe us this, Tori, so I'm happy to see debate. What do you think?"
So debates are not in the Constitution, and if you
I didn't
look
think
back,
they were.
Right, but some people do think they are. And historically, they haven't really affected the outcome very much. You either get a bump or 2, maybe 5 to 10 points
what
if
about
you
Kennedy
hit a bit.
I thought that was a
That was the first televised debate, and that was a major turning point. But the optics on that had never been seen. So here's my deal. If I'm Joe Biden's advisor, I know he can do work that's like a scalpel. He can do very intricate work. He can deal with Israel. He can deal with Palestine. I'm not worried about that. I am worried about him in a fight because I don't think he has the look or the optics to take on the hammer that is Donald Trump. Donald Trump hammers at a debate. He owns it. He takes over the microphone. He won't shut up. He talks over the moderator. So if I'm Biden's person, the risk versus reward on this is way off to me. I have no reward. Maybe he gets up a few bumps, but if he does poorly, that could be the end of Biden's presidency. So I would have said no, no, no to this.
Erica?
I would have said no.
My issue isn't so much about the American people. My issue is more so what are the optics internationally? And this seems like 2 fighters past their prime setting up for some pay-per-view special that people are really going to get a lot of headlines and clicks for. But what is it saying when it talks about issues of national security? Do we want our 2 options for president to be looked at in this way by anyone who might have nefarious agendas against the United States? It doesn't show a position of strength. It seems like a circus, and that's what I'm always thinking about. How does this help us in terms of bettering our future or securing our actual
Another
country?
risk versus reward.
What do you think, Jeff? Do you think that they should debate?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to it.
Me too.
I don't, to Tori's points, I don't think Joe Biden should, right? But I was kind of weary of him doing just that presidential address, the State of the Union.
He did great.
He did a great job, but he stuck to the teleprompter. And even when he goes off cue, he's like, they told me I'm not allowed to talk. He fell right into Donald Trump's trap. Whether you like Donald Trump or not, this is his arena.
I agree with
This is
Jeff.
his area, right? It's like when Conor McGregor's out there, he plays mind games and fighting, if you know that analogy or not. Donald Trump's that guy when it comes to a debate. That's just my perception of what's going to happen. Now, what's actually going to happen, Joe Biden might rise to the occasion and shock everybody, and then he could win the election with that.
But
if
the
he
risk is too much
fails
there.
miserably,
Right.
it might cost him the election.
That's
so
right.
this is a big risk reward, like Tori said. I don't know if I would agree that everything Joe Biden does is scalpel-like precision.
I'm just saying I don't see him as a hammer kind of guy. I see him in meetings doing dealings that he's done for 40 years on the Hill, but debates are not his strong suit.
But I mean, even in the
Not
clip
his
we
strong
just
suit.
showed, it looked like AI.
Right.
I mean, I just don't know if he could hang with Donald Trump.
I think, and
please.
please correct me if I'm wrong. I think depending on who is going to be the moderator is going to set this whole tone. If they can call out Donald Trump and Biden for interrupting or for disinformation, that will be, in my opinion, the key. If there is someone that's going to be a moderator and they're not going to call out any of this, then yeah, I think it's going to be a clown show. But do you think if the right moderator is chosen, it could be a great thing
And
for
by the way,
American people?
Biden is asking for an auto off for the mics so that if it goes over time, the mics will be shut off for both candidates.
That'll benefit Donald Trump. Because if he could keep his mouth shut and let Joe dig his own hole.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can.
That's the whole thing.
I don't think Joe will dig his own hole. I think Joe's going to prepare like he did for the State of the Union. That's my opinion.
He's not going to be on prompter, right? He's going to be off cuff for some of.
And
I think he'll practice.
They'll be prepped on the questions. They're not going to be a bunch of gotcha questions. I think, Sam, you're right. And that was my first question: is who's the moderator? Because when you talk about let's take this panel. When we have a guest on, especially if they're going to be talking about politics or anything that's really serious. If they start throwing out stats, we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if San Francisco has seen an 8% bump in crime. We don't know what you're using. We don't know these things. So when you are throwing out stats in real time, that is going to be fact for a lot of the people that are watching. Yes, CNN goes back and fact checks the things that everybody says, but very few people watch that. So the amount of misinformation that can be put to the American people by either candidate is something that is really off-putting to me.
So what's the reward to it? What's the benefit?
If you have a moderator, again, they're going to have an earpiece just like we do. Let's pull the curtain back. There's going to be a booth full of fact checkers, I hope.
Of course.
And if any one of those candidates goes over time, interrupts, whatever it may be, and that moderator can, one, manage that, and two, with the team of the producers behind the scenes or the fact checkers, get in there and say that is actually not factual. I pray that's what happens because nobody's watching these after shows.
But has any moderator ever done that?
And can they do
has
that
anybody
in real
stopped
time?
a president, a current or former president, and said that's not factual, Mr. President?
I've seen some moderators push back.
You can push back, yes.
I don't know if it's been as clear cut, but I think in this age of disinformation, we owe it to the American people's constituents to be real. And if someone says something that is not fact, to call it out as it is. Because what are we voting for if everybody can just get up there and say whatever they want to win the American vote?
But what if they did that and then it becomes somewhat of just a shouting match? Because Trump will overtalk that person. That person will try and fact check. Joe will try and get a one-liner in. And then the whole thing, like, what's the benefit of this? What does it do to the American people?
But we deserve it.
It's just a shouting match with these two, though. Like, these two do not have information and policies I'm interested in hearing because they will just be one-upping each other for headlines.
We're fighting for the next American president. We need to have them debate.
I don't even think it matters what they talk about. It definitely, I think it does, right? But I think it's just going to come out optically. Who looks better? If Joe Biden can't get his words together and he's stuttering and he can't even get the facts out and Trump takes advantage of that, that's not going to be a good look for Joe. So I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm very excited to see.
We'll have to see. Let's see what our viewers, do you want to see a Trump-Biden debate? 63% of you say yes. My eyes hurt. I can't read the other. 37 say no.